Alright guys, Rox here. I didn't think I would need to make this video, but here we are. No intro, we're just recording it directly in from my phone. So, a lot of people have been saying, this bike is slow, the Hondas are slow, the, 2017 to 2019 Honda is slow, blah, blah, blah. Let's get these misconceptions out of the way now. First of all, horsepower doesn't mean everything in a fucking race. Refer to the last video I just posted, CBR versus all. There was 2 or 3 of those bikes that were making about 10 to 15 horsepower higher than me, and I beat both of them. So, that has nothing to do with it. It helps at the very extreme end. Is it going to eventually beat me at the very top end? Sure, maybe, but I'm going to get there way before them. One of the things Honda has, beyond all the other bikes is we have instant from like 5,000 RPMs all the way up to the power band. We have power instantly, just as soon as you go. Other bikes don't have that. They can't go in second gear at like 40, 50 miles per hour, pin it, and even come close to keeping up with this. Now, don't get me wrong, there's H2s and stuff like that. These are outliers, but if you're going like a straight up 1000cc, like a ZX10R, GSXR 1000R, all those other bikes, the one thing Honda definitely has is its low and mid-range power. Like, other bikes just don't have it. They're designed to have that top end, right? And it's not that this doesn't have that. So, first of all, this is the American CBR. I'll flip so you can see it. This is the American CBR1000RR SP model. It's SP1. There's nothing special. This is the exact same bike as the other CBR. I did a couple of things to make it a little bit faster. The first thing being is getting an ECU tune. This plastic cover right here, under this is the air box, and the ECU is right here. Okay? That ECU on this bike with nothing done to it makes this bike have about 152 to somewhere around 155 horsepower rear wheel. It's not at the crank, just rear wheel. The EPA standards for this bike has it at the crank at around 168, and that is how it is right here with airbox restrictions. Now, this is coming directly from, and I'm copying this directly off of the person who tunes my bike, who works on this bike, and I believe him to know a lot about this bike, okay? So there's airbox restrictions. There's these little restrictor plates. They are made out of plastic, and, well, it's more like rubber. And here in the intake, there's intake on both sides here, and one here and one there. It restricts about 33% of the air on both sides. So with that, the stock exhaust, that's the exhaust right there. Here's the stock exhaust. With this stock exhaust, the airbox restrictions, and the ECU set the way it is, this is the US version, you will make 168 at the crank and somewhere between 152 and 155 at the rear wheel, depending on the dyno. There's no other way for it to make any higher. Impossibility. That is with the US bike. The EU bike, on the other hand, 189 at the crank. There is literally a 20 horsepower difference between the US CBR and the EU CBR right out the gate, because these are tuned down. These are tuned down. That's why everybody thinks these are slow. It's not because the bike's slow. It's because Honda restricted it for EPA standards, basically. And when you get somebody to tune it, when you get somebody to tune this bike, it is a completely different animal. You go from, well, if you just took the ECU on this, on the other bike and put it on here, it will make the EU numbers if you take off the airbox restrictors, the restriction plates. If you take off the airbox restriction plates and put it on the ECU in here, With the stock exhaust, you'd gain 20 horsepower. Straight up, just 20. You go from somewhere around 152 to 155 rear wheel, all the way up to like 175 rear wheel. With the stock exhaust, like nothing else changed. Most bikes, like the ZX10R and all those, they probably make about 168 to 175 rear wheel untuned. Once you get tuned and you have, your maps and all that, you can go up, probably up to 200 if you're on MR12, which is a racing fuel. And that's the same thing with this bike. With the right setup, yes, you can get more horsepower. You can make it faster. You have to get velocity stacks. You have to get a full exhaust system so you can get rid of the cat. The cat is literally just inside right here. This is the cat. It's right here. So you can take this bike and make it fast. It is possible. And everybody's like, oh, it costs so much more money to make it fast. That's not actually true. This bike is a fast bike with pretty much about the same amount of money. What you're always going to do is you're going to get a racing filter, you're going to get the full exhaust, and you're going to get the ECU tune. If you get those three things, this bike will be pretty damn competitive with all the other bikes. Now, I did a couple other things to make it even faster, right? Changed the wheels out, because these tires were gross. The tires that I had before, I got a nail in one, so I changed that out, and these are Metzeler RR M7s. I got the full Yoshi. I got a race filter on the inside. Now I got a Brock lowering strap, and I have a T-Rex lowering link on the back. You can't really see it, but there's an adjustable link down here. And my bike is actually lowered about 2 inches. So if you look right here, it's lowered 2 inches. When I launch against people, I'm gone. Period. Is there bikes that are faster than me? Absolutely. There's always going to be a bike that's faster than you. Period. There's no way around it. But don't let anybody tell you that the SC77 or the Honda CBR1000RR SP1 or even just the regular ones are slow, because they are definitely not. And I'm not ranting about this. I'm just trying to put it out there because I keep hearing this. I've heard it so many damn times already. Everybody's always complaining like, why would you get a Honda? It's so much slower than all the other bikes. And unfortunately, that's just not true. And if you think that, you're one of the people that would get gapped by one of these. Seriously. And let's not get into, like, if you actually did engine work on these bikes with the right engine in it can make over 230 on this rear wheel. Stock wheelbase. So I don't know what the fuck people are talking about when they say these are slow bikes. Clearly, they don't fucking understand that any bike can be a fast bike if you put money into it. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I think it's really dumb to just automatically assume, a 1000cc sport bike is slow. Compared to what? Like, is this slow compared to an H2? Maybe, it depends. Can the H2 keep the fucking rear wheel from spinning? If not, this is gone. I mean, one of the Hayabusa that I raced, by all accounts, it's a faster bike. It has more horsepower, But what happened? He spun the first time. The second time, me and him were like literally neck and neck like this, and then I just took off. I was gone. So, and it's not that his bike was slower than mine. There's a lot more factors than just, horsepower figures and torque figures. And if you think otherwise, you're one of those people that's going to get gapped in a savage way. And, I feel sorry for you if you end up on a one of these cameras, a gap cam, because, you're going to be on the internet famous. For the wrong reasons, not because your bike's fast. So, That's just my 2 cents. I think everybody always wants to say, you know, Hondas are slow, and, you know, the group that I hang out with, the group that I run with, every single one of them has said the exact same thing. We have to admit, Honda made a fast bike. You know, if you want to talk about like drag times, like I've seen a CBR, this type of CBR, this model of CBR turned into a I think it was like a 6-second bike, and it cost just the same amount of money as any other grudge bike. So really, you just, in my opinion, when it comes to 1000cc sport bikes, like in speed and stuff like that, you're basically just picking what you want your bike to look like. You know, do you want this this front end, or do you want this front end? You know, that's basically what it's coming down to. And in the very extreme ranges, all these 1000cc bikes can go like 186 miles per hour or higher. And once they're tuned, they definitely can go higher. And once you start screwing around with the sprocket, the rear sprocket, once you start screwing around with that, it can definitely go higher. This one isn't set up to go, you know, 200 miles, obviously. You would have to probably change the swing arm out, you know, so you could be a lot more stable during it, and you would have to lower this down probably 2 or 3. I mean, people are running like 39s in the rear, and this is a 43, so that's 4 down. Yeah, so I don't know. You definitely, that's another thing I should say too. 1643 is what the gearing is for this bike, and if you change this sprocket, if you go down, you can probably leave in first gear, and my bike would be even faster than it is right now. So just some food for thought, guys. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next one.